According to Figma's 2026 State of the Designer report, 89% of designers say AI helps them work faster. I wanted to actually put that to the test. So I built a portfolio 3 times, once in 5 minutes, once in 30, and another in 3 full hours. And what caught me off guard wasn't the result after 3 hours, because with AI, there's no excuse why designers shouldn't have a portfolio at this point, right? Let's see how far I get. Before I started the clock on this challenge, I already had a mood board pulled together with a few design references I liked, all leaning into this clean, modern, slightly editorial style, because even in a challenge like this, I wouldn't start designing without knowing the overall direction. That's like cooking without knowing what dish you're making. First up, 5 minutes. And the question here is, could I actually create something usable with so little time? With only 5 minutes, I couldn't overthink anything. No typography rabbit holes, no color exploration, just decisions. I opened UX Pilot. It's an AI design tool that generates full screens from a text prompt. They actually sponsored this video, which made it easy to say yes because I was already planning to use it for this challenge. Click the link in the description below if you want to try it out. The first thing I did was switch the output to wireframes. I didn't want high fidelity yet. I just needed structure. I pasted in a prompt for a product designer portfolio that peaks work above the fold, includes a work section with a few projects, and an about section covering experience, design philosophy, and reviews from previous teammates. Once I had a wireframe I liked, I selected it, switched the model to Blitz, configured it to generate 3 variations, and just let it rip. Even with 5 minutes, I wanted options to compare. Now, none of them were perfect, but I wasn't looking at fonts or colors. I was simply just evaluating structure. Does the hero communicate who this person is? Is there work above the fold or within the first section of the page? Does the page flow logically from top to bottom? I grabbed the variation with the strongest bones. Now it was time to take it to the high fidelity stage. I hit generate again, chose hi-fi, but this time I went deeper with the prompt. I wanted a dark aesthetic with bold serif headlines and conversational copy, not anything too corporate and formal. I also attached my mood board this time so UX Pilot had a visual target to work from, not just text. I was initially only planning to build the homepage, but then I tried the flow feature. I selected the homepage and told it I also needed an about page, a contact page, and a page to show all projects. UX Pilot generated all of them from that one screen and everything came back connected and consistent. Okay, time was up. All right, let's take a look at what we got. The hierarchy actually makes sense. The sections flow, but the font pairing feels a bit off. I'm personally not a fan of that serif typeface. Also, some of the spacing feels a bit too tight and there's no real visual identity or personality yet. Obviously, it's still not done, but it's a good starting point, especially after just 5 minutes. All right, round 2. This time I have 30 minutes. And the question I had going in was, does the result actually feel 6 times better? This was the round I was most curious about because 30 minutes is realistic. That's a lunch break. That's one focused session. And if 30 minutes could get me past the blank canvas and into something I'd actually want to keep building on, that changes everything. This time I went deeper. I pasted a more detailed prompt. Again, I wanted a dark aesthetic with bold typography and work as high up on the page as possible. I also attached my mood board as a reference image. One click and UX Pilot generated a first pass. But I wasn't stopping there. From the tool panel, I pasted the prompt again and toggled on Deep Design and Max, UX Pilot's highest quality settings. Deep Design generates more detailed, production-ready screens. Max takes longer, but the output is noticeably sharper. Together, they push the fidelity way up. Now, if you're working on a product or a client project, UX Pilot can actually import your design system directly from Figma, so your components, colors, and typography all carry over, and everything it generates stays on brand. However, for a portfolio website, I didn't really need that, but it's worth knowing that it's there. I set it to 4 variants and hit generate. And this is where it gets interesting, because when you're looking at multiple directions side by side, you start to see what's working or not working across each layout. One variation had the work grid a little too far down the page. Another variation went way off course. The one I picked had work relatively high on the page and a clear visual hierarchy from top to bottom. From there, I switched to the chat tab to refine the designs even further. I added the design I liked most as context, so UX Pilot knew exactly what I was building on. Then I typed refinements, removed the capabilities banner from the hero section, removed the services and reviews links from the header. Deep Design and Max are still on. It's like having a design partner that just does what you say instantly. Once the homepage was in a good spot, I selected the design and chose copy for Figma from the toolbar. I then opened Figma, pasted it in, and it doesn't come back as a flat image. You get real layers that you can actually edit and refine. So that's where I focus next: typography and spacing, dialing in the font pairing, adjusting the spacing system, giving it a real visual identity, because that's honestly what separates a beginner looking portfolio from a polished one. Experimenting in Figma gave me a clear picture of what I wanted to change. So I went back to UX Pilot, pasted the Figma design as a reference image in the chat tab, and prompted it to match my refinements, updating the typography, tightening the spacing, and tweaking the colors to give the design more polish. 20 minutes in, it already felt like a completely different design from round one. From that polished homepage, I generated the rest of the portfolio again. I typed the pages I wanted: a work page, about, contact, and an index to show all the projects, and chose generate flow with AI. For each page, I pasted in detailed prompts covering things like content structure, tone, and layout direction, so UX Pilot had real guidance for every screen. One click and the full portfolio came together from that single refined homepage. From there, I selected all the pages and generated a prototype. UX Pilot linked everything together. Every page was connected and navigable. I hit preview to click through the full experience before eventually running out of time. Okay, this round actually surprised me. It's not just better, it feels like it has real potential. The spacing is intentional, the typography has personality, and there's a clear visual identity starting to form. The hero section actually draws you in. If someone showed me this and said they spent a few days on it, I'd believe them. All right, now we're at the final round of this challenge. I had 3 hours to design a portfolio website from scratch. No real time pressure this time, but here's the question I actually wanted to answer. Is the jump from 30 minutes to 3 hours as big as the jump from 5 to 30? This is where most designers actually get stuck. They tell themselves they need 3 hours, 10 hours, or even 3 weeks, and then they never start. So I wanted to see, does all the extra time actually show up in the final design? With 3 hours, I could go all in. Same starting point, I wrote a detailed prompt, attached my mood board, and generated a first pass. Then I toggled on Deep Design and Max again so I could get the highest quality output. I started by going wide, using variations to explore completely different visual directions, different moods, different styles, different energy, because when you have time, you can afford to explore before you commit. I used the chat feature to direct changes section by section, update the formatting for the name and the header to be on a single line, remove experience from the header as a nav item. Before going further, I generated a predictive heat map to see where attention naturally lands on the page and made a few small adjustments based on what it showed me. Once the homepage felt dialed in and in a good spot, I generated the rest of the portfolio. Again, I typed in the pages I wanted: work, about, contact, and a page to show all the projects, chose generate flow with AI, and pasted detailed prompts for each page. Again, I'm outlining things like content structure, tone, and layout direction. Every page had real guidance. With the extra time, I could actually refine each generated page instead of just accepting the first output. And here's where it got interesting. I exported the homepage as an HTML file directly from UX Pilot. Then I created a new project folder, opened it in Cursor, and used Claude Code to convert that HTML file into a real React project with real components and real code, not a flat export. I added the other pages the same way, attached the HTML file, and Claude Code wired it into the existing project, reusing components and styles that were already there. From there, I made a few refinements using the Claude Code extension in Cursor. Then I asked Claude Code to commit the project to GitHub using one single prompt, and the whole repo was pushed. Over on Vercel, I imported the GitHub repo, hit deploy, and connected a custom domain. And just like that, the portfolio was live. 3 hours ago, this didn't exist. And on top of that, I'd say the design is a lot better. It has cleaner typography, tighter spacing, and some personality. It definitely feels more polished, but the real difference between 30 minutes and 3 hours isn't just polish. It's that one is shipped and I could actually use it to apply to jobs if I wanted to. I had enough time to design, prototype, code, and deploy the portfolio in one session. Okay, we took 3 designs with 3 different time constraints, and there's one thing that kept standing out. The 30-minute round proved you can design a decent portfolio fast. The 3-hour challenge proved you can actually publish a vibe-coded portfolio with the custom domain. That's crazy. So the real question is, what's actually stopping you? It's not time and it's not knowing how to code. The point isn't to rush, it's to start and to leverage AI tools like UX Pilot to accelerate the process. And if you're planning to work on your portfolio soon, it helps to know what great portfolios actually look like before you start the process of designing your own. In this video, I break down some of the most creative and inspiring portfolio websites I've seen in a while.